Imagine a magical night, where the sky is lit by bonfires and the sound of laughter fills the air. It's a night of celebration, where tradition and faith intertwine in an event that spans centuries. We're talking about St. John's Day, a special date filled with deep and joyful meanings, a true milestone in the calendar of many around the world. On this day, celebrated on June 24th, we commemorate the birth of St. John the Baptist, the prophet who, according to the scriptures, prepared the way for Jesus. But St. John's Day goes beyond a mere religious holiday. It is full of stories, symbols, and rituals that blend with popular traditions, bringing forth a rich cultural tapestry. Around the world, the celebrations may differ, but they all share something in common, a profound sense of community and hope. The bonfires, the songs, the dances, all these elements connect us to an ancient story, one that mixes devotion and joy in a celebration that has stood the test of time. And it is this journey, from its origins to the present day, that we will explore. So get ready to dive into this fascinating story, filled with symbolism and tradition, as we discover the true meaning of St. John's Day and its importance to so many cultures. Welcome to this celebration where the sacred and the festive meet. St. John's Day has deep roots in Christian tradition, with origins that take us back to biblical times. According to the New Testament, St. John the Baptist was a key figure in Christianity, born approximately 6 months before Jesus Christ. He is remembered as the prophet who preached the coming of the Messiah and baptized those seeking purification, including Jesus, in the waters of the Jordan River. What makes St. John even more special is the way his birth has been celebrated since the early centuries of Christianity. Unlike other saints, whose feasts commemorate the day of their death, St. John's Day celebrates his birth. This is because, according to tradition, the Archangel Gabriel announced to Zechariah, John the Baptist's father, that his son would be great in the eyes of the Lord, even from his mother's womb. This narrative laid the foundation for the significance of this day in the liturgical calendar. However, this date is not just a religious landmark. It is also associated with the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, a natural event celebrated by pagan cultures long before the Christian era. When Christianity began to spread across Europe, many of these ancient traditions celebrating light and the sun were incorporated into St. John's feast, creating a fusion of the sacred and the popular. It is in this blending of cultures that the celebration gains vibrant colors and diverse forms. Thus, what began as a tribute to the birth of a prophet soon became a festival resonating with echoes of ancient ceremonies, mixing the light of Christian faith with the glow of ancestral traditions, a union that has crossed borders and found new meanings over the centuries. John the Baptist was not just an ordinary prophet. In many ways, he symbolized transformation and renewal. From an early age, his life was marked by a clear mission, to prepare the way for the arrival of Jesus. He lived austerely in the desert, dressed in camel skins and feeding on locusts and honey. His life was a living sermon of simplicity and devotion. But John was not only remarkable for his ascetic lifestyle. His voice was powerful, and his message resonated with authority. He preached repentance and the need for purification, baptizing his followers in the waters of the Jordan, a symbol of spiritual rebirth. John believed that transformation occurred not just in the spirit but also in the body and soul. This is why the baptism he offered was a rite of passage, a new chance for those seeking to walk a different path. Perhaps the most notable aspect of John the Baptist was his humility. Despite being a grand and admired figure, he never sought glory for himself. He always made it clear that he was merely the messenger, preparing the way for someone far greater. When Jesus came to him to be baptized, John hesitated in his humility. He felt unworthy of performing such an act, but Jesus insisted. That moment became one of the most iconic in Christian history, when, according to the scriptures, the heavens opened, and the Holy Spirit descended upon Jesus like a dove. This passage reflects John the Baptist's crucial role in the Christian narrative. He is seen as the bridge between the Old and New Testaments, the last prophet who heralded the coming of the Messiah and the first to witness his public ministry. This connection between the Old and the New, between tradition and renewal, is what makes St. John such a revered figure to this day. His legacy transcends history, embodying values such as faith, humility, and transformation, values celebrated not only in religious contexts but also in the popular traditions that honor his name each year. Celebrations in honor of Saint John the Baptist have spread over the centuries, adapting to different cultures and traditions worldwide. In several countries, especially in Europe, St. John's Day has become a significant date in both the liturgical and popular calendars. The ways of celebrating vary widely, but all have a deep reverence for this saint, who unites faith, renewal, and the celebration of life. In Europe, the most traditional festivities take place in Portugal, Spain, and France. In Portugal, St. John is vibrantly celebrated, particularly in the city of Porto. The city transforms into a lively festival, with streets full of life, bonfires burning, and the smell of grilled sardines filling the air. People take to the streets with plastic hammers, a peculiar tradition, playfully tapping each other for good luck. There's also the tradition of jumping over bonfires, an ancient symbol of purification and protection, dating back to pagan solstice celebrations. In Spain, particularly in Catalonia, St. John's festivities are also marked by bonfires lighting up the shortest night of the year. Known as Nit de Sant Joan, St. John's Night, this celebration is a blend of religious and pagan rituals. People light bonfires on the beaches, set off fireworks, and share meals in large family groups, all in a spirit of renewal and joy. In France, the Fête de la Saint-Jean carries a similar atmosphere. Since the Middle Ages, St. John's bonfires have been an anticipated spectacle, symbolizing the triumph of light over darkness and the beginning of summer. It was a time for prayers, but also for social communion, with dances around the flames and celebrations lasting until dawn. What's fascinating is how these traditions have adapted over time while keeping St. John's spirit alive. Even in places where Catholicism isn't as predominant, such as in Nordic countries, there are similar festivals around the summer solstice, often linked to St. John. The prophet's legacy, intertwined with ancient pagan practices, has spread in ways that unite people, beliefs, and customs around a single event that celebrates renewal and hope. This diversity in St. John celebrations highlights the cultural and spiritual richness of this day, which goes far beyond religiosity, incorporating traditions that renew themselves with the passing of centuries but always keep the fire lit in honor of the saint. There is something deeply symbolic in how St. John's Day intertwines with the summer solstice, especially in the northern hemisphere. The solstice marks the longest day of the year, the point at which the sun reaches its peak in the sky, radiating light and warmth in abundance. Before Christianity, this astronomical event was already celebrated by pagan cultures worldwide as a time of renewal, fertility, and celebration of nature. When Christianity spread, these ancient traditions were assimilated and adapted to religious festivals, with St. John's Day being one of the best examples of this fusion. The bonfire, perhaps the most iconic symbol of these celebrations, is a direct link to the past. In pagan tradition, solstice bonfires represented the light of the sun and the power of life, driving away evil spirits and protecting crops. In the Christian context, St. John's bonfires took on a new meaning. They are lit to remind the faithful of the spiritual light brought by John the Baptist, who announced the coming of Christ, the true light of the world. These bonfires, lit in squares, backyards, and beaches, are more than just celebrations. They carry with them a symbolism of purification and renewal. In many cultures, jumping over the bonfire is an act of courage and faith, something that, according to tradition, brings good luck and health. This ritual of jumping over the flames is also a gesture of communion with the past, a respect for the natural and divine forces that govern life. Besides the bonfires, there is another element connected to the solstice and ancient celebrations: paper lanterns lighting up the sky. In various parts of the world, especially in countries like Brazil, releasing lanterns is a way of giving thanks for the light and protection, as if each lantern were a silent prayer carried to the heavens by the air currents. Although there are safety concerns today, this practice continues to live on, symbolizing the elevation of the soul and the desire to ascend to something greater. The marriage between the summer solstice and St. John's Day is proof of how traditions can evolve without losing their roots. Light, both physical and spiritual, remains at the heart of these celebrations, reminding us of the importance of faith, renewal, and the cycle of life. And so, around the bonfires, under the stars and lanterns, communities gather to celebrate life, nature, and the legacy of St. John the Baptist, uniting the old and the new in a festival of light and hope. In Brazil, St. John's Day takes on a special glow through the famous Festas Juninas. These celebrations are more than just a tribute to the saint, they have become a vibrant expression of Brazilian popular culture, especially in the country's northeast. Festas Juninas, which also honor Saint Anthony and Saint Peter, stand out for their unique mix of religious devotion, rural tradition, and folklore. The origin of Festas Juninas in Brazil dates back to Portuguese colonization. The colonizers brought the St. John traditions from Europe, but over the centuries, these practices merged with African and indigenous influences, creating a celebration entirely unique. The result is a colorful event, full of joy, marked by dances, typical foods, and rituals that vary from region to region but share a common spirit of community and celebration. In June, small towns and large cities alike are decorated with colorful flags that fill the streets and squares. Bonfires are lit to warm the chilly nights of Brazil's winter, and the sound of accordions, triangles, and zabumbas sets the rhythm for quadrilhas, one of the most anticipated parts of the festival. The quadrilha is an animated dance that satirizes country weddings, full of humor and charm, involving the whole community in choreographed steps that celebrate union and fertility. But Festas Juninas wouldn't be complete without their typical treats. The food is a true banquet of flavors, with dishes made from corn, such as pamonha, curau, canjica, and corn cake. Hot drinks like quento and mulled wine help warm the body on festive nights. These foods are deeply rooted in Brazil's agricultural culture, especially in rural areas where corn is one of the main crops of the season. Thus, Festas Juninas are also a celebration of abundance and harvest, a time to give thanks for blessings received. In the Northeast, in states like Pernambuco, Paraíba, and Bahia, Festas Juninas reach an even larger scale, being compared in popularity to Carnival. Cities fill with tourists who come to join the celebrations. In Caruru and Campina Grande, for instance, the Festas Juninas are known as the largest in the world, attracting millions of people to dance forró, watch live music shows, and participate in countless competitions and events. In Brazil, St. John's Day and Festas Juninas are uniquely intertwined, celebrating both religious devotion and the joy and warmth of community. It's a time when people come together, traditions are kept alive, and families share moments of happiness, always around the bonfire, under the starry sky, celebrating life and popular culture with the same enthusiasm and devotion that marked the ancient European festivals. Within Festas Juninas, every detail carries special meaning, rich with symbolism and tradition. The elements that make up this celebration, from the bonfire to the clothing, from the dances to the food, are not there by chance. Each one tells a story, and together they create an atmosphere of devotion and joy, where the sacred and the festive meet. The bonfire, for example, is the heart of the festival. It not only lights up the night but also symbolizes the fire of faith and the purification of souls. According to tradition, St. John's bonfire dates back to a pact between St. Elizabeth and Our Lady. When St. John the Baptist was born, Elizabeth lit a bonfire on top of a hill to notify Mary of her son's birth. This gesture of joy and sharing became a central symbol of Festas Juninas, representing the light that guides and protects communities. The lanterns, so characteristic of St. John's festivities in Brazil, also hold strong symbolism. Releasing lanterns represents the desire to send prayers and wishes to the heavens. Each lantern that rises is a message full of hope, gratitude, or supplication. Although the practice has diminished in many areas due to the risk of fires, the lantern remains a powerful symbol of spiritual elevation, connecting the festivities to ancient traditions of ascension and connection with the divine. The food, in turn, reflects Festas Juninas' relationship with the land and the harvest. Corn, which rains on the St. John tables, is a symbol of abundance and renewal. Typical dishes like pomonia, canjica, and corn cake are offerings from the earth, celebrating the bounty of the June harvest. These foods have deep roots in rural traditions, where communities gather to give thanks for the harvest and share the fruits of their labor. The caipira, country, costumes, which bring color and life to the quadrilhas, also carry special significance. They are a tribute to the men and women of the countryside, the key players in the harvest and rural life. The checkered patterns, straw hats, and flared dresses represent the simplicity and joy of the countryside, evoking an aesthetic that celebrates Brazil's rural roots. By dressing as caipiras, participants in Festas Juninas pay homage to rural workers, honoring their importance in the country's culture and economy. Another fundamental symbol of Festas Juninas is the St. John mast. Raised in many communities during the celebrations, the mast is adorned with colorful flags and religious symbols, representing the connection between earth and sky. Like the bonfires and lanterns, the mast is a link to the divine, a symbol of elevation and spiritual communion. These elements combine to create a festival rich in meaning, where every detail, no matter how small, is imbued with a story and tradition. Together, they form a mosaic of faith, culture, and joy that transforms St. John's Day and Festas Juninas into much more than a simple celebration. They are moments of renewal, where communities reaffirm their connection to their roots, celebrate the abundance of life, and express their devotion in festive and warm ways. And then, amid the lights of the bonfires and the aroma of traditional foods, one of the most anticipated moments of Festas Juninas emerges, the quadrilha. The dance, with its choreographed and lively figures, is a spectacle in itself, a burst of energy and tradition that captivates all generations. The quadrilha is not just a dance, it is a joyful and colorful representation of rural celebrations, an enactment that mixes humor, music, and history. To the sound of the accordion, the triangle, and the zabumba, the pairs, dressed in country costumes, enter the circle. They follow the commands of the marcante, the narrator of the quadrilha, who dictates the steps in a playful tone. Look at the tunnel. Anari. Caminho de Roca. Each command brings with it a specific movement, reminiscent of rural life and agricultural traditions. The quadrilha's storyline often simulates a country wedding, with the groom, bride, priest, and even characters like the strict father and the pregnant bride, all played out in an exaggerated and comedic way to entertain the audience. The quadrilha, which had its origins in the European ballroom dances brought by Portuguese colonizers, was transformed over the years by the Brazilian people into a dance with a unique identity. The formality of ballroom dancing gave way to the cheerful and relaxed style of the sertanejo, blending rhythms and creating something deeply rooted in Brazil's popular culture. It is as if the quadrilha is a grand metaphor for rural life, simple, yet full of meaning, filled with cooperation, fun, and a sense of community. Amid laughter, rehearsed steps, and lots of improvisation, the quadrilha reflects the collective spirit of Festas Juninas. It connects people, placing them side by side, rhythmically moving in a shared celebration. It is a moment where roles mix, everyone can be a protagonist, from the youngest to the oldest, from the shyest to the boldest. Each movement, each turn around the bonfire, is a reminder that Festas Juninas are a celebration of union, an event that transcends the individual and strengthens the sense of community. And so, as couples twirl and dance, under the playful commands of the marcante, the quadrilha comes to life. It's a moment that seems to freeze time, where the present connects with the past, and tradition is renewed with every step. It is the height of joy, fun, and sharing, where laughter and music fill the air, creating a magical atmosphere that turns any St. John night into a true festival of colors, sounds, and emotions. But Festas Juninas, beyond all their joy and animation, also carry a mystical side, full of popular beliefs, superstitions, and traditions that involve making wishes and promises to St. John. This spiritual aspect of the festival is lived intensely by those who see the saint not only as a protector but also as an intercessor for requests for luck, health, prosperity, and, of course, love. One of the most well-known traditions is the custom of making wishes to Saint John during the night of the festival. In popular belief, because Saint John is a party-loving saint, he often sleeps deeply during the celebrations. That's why people believe this is the right time to make wishes, taking advantage of the saint's more relaxed and generous state. Many believe that if the wish is made with faith, Saint John will grant it, especially if it is related to matters of the heart. Among the most popular superstitions are several love-related rituals. One of the most famous is the Cravo e Rosa, carnation and rose, ritual. It is said that by placing a carnation and a rose under one's pillow on St. John's night, the person will dream of their future partner's face. Some also leave a glass of water and a knife out in the open, believing that the water will reveal the name of their loved one by morning. Another traditional ritual is the paper and bonfire ritual. The names of potential suitors are written on pieces of paper, carefully folded. During St. John's night, the papers are placed around the bonfire, and the one that unfolds first indicates the name of the future love. This is just one of many ways in which the spirit of St. John is invoked to bring answers to the deepest desires of the heart. But it's not just love-related wishes that mark the night. Many people also make promises to St. John in exchange for blessings and favors. These promises can involve acts of devotion, such as lighting candles or organizing small celebrations in the saint's honor, if the wish is granted. In some regions, especially in the Northeast, it is common to see small altars dedicated to St. John, where people place their candles and prayers, thanking him for a bountiful harvest, restored health, or another answered request. And, of course, there is also the belief that St. John protects those who participate in his festival, keeping them safe from dangers and evils. The bonfires, lanterns, and even the dances around the flames carry a meaning of protection, as if the celebration rituals were also rituals of safety, ensuring that evil stays away from people and their homes. In the end, these superstitions and beliefs are more than just traditions, they are a way of keeping popular faith alive, a faith that sees the saints as a direct link between the divine and the everyday. Amid the laughter, music, and dancing, there is deep respect and devotion, a desire to connect with something greater, to find answers to life's mysteries, and to seek heavenly help for what we lack on earth. And so, as the bonfire flames begin to die down and the last chords of the accordion echo in the night, the legacy of St. John the Baptist remains alive, renewed each year in celebrations that unite past and present. What began as a tribute to the prophet who prepared the way for Jesus has become a festival that transcends religious boundaries, encompassing a deep sense of community, faith, and popular joy. St. John's Day and its festivals continue to evolve, adapting to modern times without losing their roots. Today, we see Festas Juninas not only in small towns but also in large cities, where traditions are kept alive by different generations. In schools, squares, and churches, people continue to dance, quadrilha, light bonfires, and make wishes to the saint, keeping the flame of devotion and celebration burning. Although some practices have changed over time, such as the use of lanterns, which has been more restricted due to safety concerns, the essence of the festivals remains the same. Each year, communities come together to celebrate the harvest, abundance, love, and the simple life of the countryside, remembering St. John's role as the guardian of these values. And in doing so, they connect not only with each other but also with a story that spans centuries. The most beautiful thing about all this is how these festivals remind us of something universal, the importance of celebration. Celebrating life's cycles, giving thanks for blessings received, and finding moments of joy and sharing amid daily challenges. Through music, dance, food, and rituals, the spirit of St. John the Baptist reminds us to look at life with renewed hope, even in difficult times. And so, at the end of each Festa Junina, as the last embers of the bonfire fade away, something remains, the feeling of gratitude and communion that only a celebration like this can bring. A festival that, no matter how old, continues to bring light, warmth, and hope to all those who gather around it, year after year. This is what keeps St. John's legacy alive, the power to turn any night into a celebration of faith, love, and shared life.